You know who Bill Burr is?
Yeah.
Bill Burr was on with Dan. No, he was on with Rich Eisen, and Rich Eisen asked him that, and Bill Burr took exception to it because Bill Burr is a big New England Patriots fan, and he felt like Rich Eisen was trying to poke him and antagonize him, and and Bill Burr essentially said, what did I think of Bill Belichick on the on North Carolina? He's like, well, that's like asking, what did you think of Emmitt Smith on the Arizona Cardinals?
What up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Full Metal Analysis. Football is here. We are in the thick of it. It is officially here. Last week, we had the official start of college football. I'm not going to count the week before that because that's bullshit games. That don't count. I don't care what nobody say. That don't count. And tonight, we have the kickoff of NFL football, which starts this week in NFL football. Marcus, man, I want to pick your brain about last week. What was going on in college football, man? First off, I want to go to everybody's favorite team, U of M, man. Bryce Underwood came out first game. Everybody was like, "What is he gonna do? Is he gonna be everything he's hyped up to be? Is he gonna be a bust? Is he gonna fall on his head?" What did you think of Bryce Underwood's performance?
I started getting annoyed because I felt like people were just going on and on like, hey, man, I just want everybody to know that this is going to be his first start. He is a true freshman. So if he doesn't do good his first game, hey, don't jump on his head and da-da-da. And it's like, hey, I mean, you got people, like you said, there are people out there that said this is the best quarterback to ever play football since Joe Montana. And then on the flip side, I'm hearing people saying like, hey, give the kid a chance. Da da da. It's like somewhere, and ironically, I think he landed somewhere right in the middle. He played well his first game. I was talking to you. I thought the thing that stood out the most, two things that stood out the most was one, I don't think I'd have to look it up, but I don't think he scrambled once that game. They were playing.
He didn't.
Yeah, they were
I
playing.
had money on it. He didn't. He had negative yards. He had negative 5 yards scrambling.
They were playing New Mexico, so maybe he didn't feel the need to do that. And the other thing was, I couldn't believe how hard he was throwing that football. I swear, they're throwing the football hard when, honestly, man, it was like, you ever watch a football game and it's a play action, and the play action is so good that they fake out the camera, and then the camera has to make that sudden jerk because they're looking at the quarterback and like, oh no, the ball's over here. That was every time. That was every time he threw the ball. And it was honestly hard to keep up with. But he had a good game, and I thought he played well, and I'm excited to see him against Oklahoma. It's gonna be a big game.
Yeah, man, the Oklahoma game is gonna be a test for Michigan in the whole because I'm with you, man. I feel like Bryce Underwood had had a good game, man. He came out. It was kind of slow at first. I feel like the coaches didn't really have that much faith in him at first. They ran the ball a lot in that first half, and it wasn't until New Mexico coach scored right before half, and there's 2 minutes left, that they opened up the playbook and let him start throwing the ball. And when he started throwing the ball in that 2-minute warning, he looked good. And I think the coaches gained a little confidence because from there on they opened up the playbook and he was throwing the rest of the game. But yeah, man, I like the way he said the release, like you said. I think a couple of players and a couple of other people commented on how hard he was throwing the ball. But I mean, that quarterbacks who throw the ball hard have always been. I've always heard good things about them, but it's the receivers appreciate it, and they dread it at the same time because I've known a couple receivers that said, I mean, he might not be the best example, but Brett Favre used to throw the ball so hard that like it broke a couple of fingers. So I'm excited to see what he's going to do. Michigan is going to be short one player going into the first half of the Oklahoma game because of a hit that got controversy all week. From what I would assume, their linebacker had a sack on the New Mexico quarterback. Uh, he was kicked out of the game for targeting, and a lot of people, especially on U of M side, think it wasn't targeting, and that or either that side of it or that the rule might need to be changed. Did you see that play? Or what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I don't know his first name. His last name is Barham. I'm assuming he's like the captain for Michigan. He had a good game too. So obviously, I'm thinking he's one of their best players. I think the thing that stood out the most was that their defense. You know, Michigan is known for their defense, and it's the first game of the year. But they had a tough time getting New Mexico off that field. One of their longest drives, I think, included that play. It turned from a scoop and score touchdown to targeting, and my man got thrown out the game. Roughing the yeah, I think targeting gets 15-yard penalty. But anyway, did I think it was targeting? When I watched it, live, I didn't think it was targeting. Then they go back and look at the replay, and it wasn't necessarily helmet to helmet. It was more like face mask to face mask. And as far as I've always known, that's not necessarily targeting. The targeting rule is very sensitive. It's a very sensitive rule as far as what's targeting. So I'm not surprised that they called it, especially when you look at the replay, slow it down and watch it like 10 times. Yeah, you can make an argument that it was targeting. I don't think, I just don't think I wouldn't have called it personally. And if you asked me if that was targeting, I would say no, but it was a bang bang play, as they say.
They could have called helmet to helmet and gave him a 15-yard penalty, and I would have been fine with it. But they called it targeting, which, like you said, under my impression of it, that means you bent your head down and you hit with the top of your helmet to spear somebody with the top of your helmet, and then you drove through.
Yeah.
But that comes with a 15-yard penalty, and the player's kicked out of the game for a whole game. So not only does it affect this game, but it affects the next game because he can't play in the first half of the Oklahoma game either. So I mean, I don't know, man. College football for me is weird. The rules in college football have always been weird, but yeah, man, I didn't think that was targeting. I will give it helmet to helmet, but I didn't think that was targeting. Yeah. But speaking of starting quarterbacks, man, Archie Manning debuted.
It's the Archie Manning era, regardless.
Yeah, well, I don't know, man. The Manning era, whoo. So far, it's not over. It's not over, man. It's not over. I just want to make sure that I say it's not over. But that first game didn't look good, man. I can see a lot of Mannings twitching uncomfortably in their seat watching that game, man. What are your thoughts on Archie Manning in his first performance?
I think he folded under pressure, and it's there's nothing wrong with folding under pressure. Yeah. Plenty of the greatest athletes of all time have folded under pressure at times. And I think this was just his spot. It was a very, very tough spot going in Ohio State, defending national champions. Chip on their shoulder because everybody's there to see him. Well, not everybody, but everybody's watching to see Arch Manning play. And their defense was really good. I'm not 100% certain but I'm fairly positive that Texas definitely lost some receivers in the draft. So I'm assuming they're breaking in new receivers, and he just looked like he wasn't prepared. He looked like he would be better suited if they would have. Most of the time most of the time these schools, they book New Mexico State or Ball State or the
Right.
Akron Zips as their
A
first
warm
game.
up.
Yeah, warm up game, man. He looked like he needed that warm up game because the games I didn't watch a full Texas game last year when he did play. All I saw was the highlights. But the highlights that I saw from last year, and the highlights from this year, it was like watching Hendon Hooker last year and Hendon Hooker this year.
Yeah, man. He had a bad showing, man. He came out. I don't know if it was the pressure, if he was nervous, or you know what I'm saying. They may have a new playbook or what, but he didn't look good, man. And like I said, it's not over, man. He can come out. They were playing Ohio State, so he can come out. He does have to show something next week, though. I fully believe that he has to come out and have a good showing next week in order to secure, his, if you want to call it legacy or whatnot. But he has to come out and show us something. Ohio State, on the other hand, their defense looked good, but I want to say their offense didn't look that great either, man. They didn't. I don't know. I wasn't impressed by Ohio State. They didn't look like what Ohio State's ranked number 4. They didn't look like the number 4 ranked team in the nation.
They he got drafted this year, but his name is escaping me. But last year they won the national championship with a quarterback who I can only describe as a Jared Goff, light, a Kyle Allen clone. Not the most flashy quarterback, but just a quarterback that got the ball out on time and where it needed to be. And that's what they're starting to. I think he's a freshman. They're starting a freshman now, Julian Saying, and that's kind of what he was doing out there. He was just keeping the game on schedule, getting the ball out on time, not making any costly mistakes, and like you said, just letting the defense do their thing and letting your playmakers make plays. So they won a national championship last year. So I'm not gonna knock it until maybe it stops working or we could see that this guy might not be the guy. But I guess with Ryan Day, that's the new model that they're moving towards. I used to always joke that they used to always have for like 20 years. I don't know about 20. I felt like 20 years they had a light skin, mobile, dual threat quarterback. And ever since Ryan Day's taken over, he's kind of seems like he's moving away from that model. So he won a national championship. So like I said, I can't say anything negative about it. But I'm with you. I didn't think their offense looked dynamic.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what they do in the future. Hopefully, they fail. Speaking of failing debuts, man, the arguably one of the greatest coaches of all time, Bill Belichick, debut in his first college start, man, and got embarrassed, blown out of water. The most horrible thing you can think of happened to him on that field, man. It was bad. It was really bad. Was it a mistake for Bill Belichick to come to college, man, or what do you think? Some people are saying that he's not built for these young kids. He shouldn't have came to college. It was the worst mistake he ever made. Or is it just like we said with Archie Manning, first game jitters? What do you think?
You know who Bill Burr is?
Yeah.
Bill Burr was on with Dan. No, he was on with Rich Eisen, and Rich Eisen asked him that, and Bill Burr took exception to it because Bill Burr is a big New England Patriots fan, and he felt like Rich Eisen was trying to poke him and antagonize him. And Bill Burr essentially said, what did I think of Bill Belichick on the on North Carolina? He's like, well, that's like asking, what did you think of Emmitt Smith on the Arizona Cardinals? He went on to name like 5 different players that essentially, Shaq on the Phoenix Suns. Nothing about Bill Belichick screams North Carolina. And Bill Burr essentially called it his retirement job. And I can't argue with that at all. Bill Belichick wanted to coach football, and he just wanted something different, I guess. He didn't want to go back to the NFL and, to jeopardize his legacy in the NFL. So, hey, North Carolina, what have they ever done? Mitch Trubisky was the man there. So if Mitch Trubisky can do it, hey, why not Bill Belichick? So hey man, Bill's just they said he's 72 years old. He's got time on his hands. If I was him, I would have. But he's not a big. He's not a big media guy. So I was gonna say he should have stuck to a analyst. Desk. They'll give anybody an analyst job these days. But maybe he's not a big media guy. So maybe college football was the closest he could get. He could have coached his grandson's high school football team or something. But man, we'll see if it works. I don't think it's gonna work though. To answer your question, I don't think it's gonna work out. But he's gonna give no pun intended. He's gonna give it the old college try.
By the way, man, I have to say, Bill Belichick, speaking of his media career, he was the most insightful, boring person I've ever seen in my life, dog. Like he gave nuggets of wisdom, and I was like, that's a great perspective. What else is on?
Detroit